Should have another camera set up just to record the struggles that I have with this camera. There's like a bit of buried wood in the middle of this concrete, which is a bit bizarre. I'm going to look at taking at least the top of the main turbine housing off. A lot of the nuts have already been removed. I don't know if these will be loose and they've just been put on temporarily, or if they're here because the previous endeavours that people were making with this, they couldn't get them off. That'll sort of become apparent quite quickly. It'll be good to see the bearings. I think once I get this top shell off, I think it'll open up at least some of the bearing surface. Ooh, that felt good. Rubbish bit of wood. I'll put my hand under that, it's not the best. That's in there. Oh. I've undone the sides of the bearings, whatever that's called, cap, collar, whatever. I'm going to see if I can just take it out as a one-er, and it is loose, look. Trouble is there's a bolt, which wasn't me, there's a bolt being snapped off this here. It does seem to lift up. I haven't done it. I've done it for 65. There we go. Right, so now this is loose. Maybe this can twist off completely. Oh yeah! How heavy is this? Pretty heavy. Oh! For all that, I think it might be too heavy for me to manage. So this is the governor. I have no idea how it works. Once it spins, these move outwards, I guess. This is where the bolts were that were sort of locking these in place. Time for a cup of tea, because I'm losing my temper. I've had a brew. Oh, it moved. Oh, this is good news. someone's really tried to get this off, which does not fill me with a lot of confidence. As this spins, those weights, the centrifugal force pulls those weights that way against the springs. These then move outwards, and then they pull this mechanism here, and that slides this slider that way, and that actuates the rest of the linkages. It's fun. I haven't worked on the turbine for a couple of days. I realised while I wasn't working on it that I haven't really been narrating what I'm doing particularly well, and the reason for that is I haven't quite understood the order of business for doing stuff. I still haven't got the drawings from Gilkes, so it's been a bit of a voyage of discovery of working out which bit comes off first and which bit I can't get off, and there's a few bits that I think I'm going to leave. I've been in two minds about whether or not I'm going to strip it back and paint it, and sort of I was thinking more along the lines of maybe I'll get it working, and then once it's working then I'll dismantle it all again and know that it's worth the time to then sort of get all the paint and rust and all that stuff off. But I think instead of putting a lot of effort into putting it all together and getting it working and then taking it apart and then cleaning it and then putting it all back together again, what I'm going to do is take it all apart now. I'm sort of in the process of taking the last part of the diverter apart. I've sort of stalled a little bit because I wasn't strong enough to lift the runner out without damaging it, I don't think. What I'm doing at the moment, there's an engine hoist behind me. Oops, there's an engine hoist behind me. Hopefully this is going to help me, but unfortunately you can see that the ground here is just, this has, behind me there's arms here that extend out down here, but I need to sort of somehow level this. It might be easier if actually some of the structure wasn't here for taking parts of this out. Crowbar. Stop looking. You think? Good hell. I've got a sort of Keith Robinson setup here with some wobbly scaffolds, the engine hoist, and there's some straps over there. This, if nothing else, this is going to be an exercise in me filming me hurting myself. So let's give it a go. So I know I can lift this, but this is sort of an experiment in me manipulating the apparatus to get maybe a sack truck underneath it or something to basically just have a go for when I do the runner in the next bit. Oh, bother! Okay, as far as trial runs go, that I didn't hurt myself and I didn't damage it, so I'd call that a success. I should have balanced it better. Ooh, I'm not sure a sack truck was the right choice for this. Yeah, it's just plastic. there's a collapsed bearing in there. So that's it, that's the inner race of that bearing, and now this should come out. I want to set up the gate valve that I've got and the pressure gauge. So first off, I'm going to put the spear valve back on this so it locates it in the right position. I have roughly offered up the second valve that I've bought, and the flanges are compatible. It's not going to sit the dog just slipped into the water. I've checked the flanges, and I can't even remember what they're called now, but they're compatible, and the bolt holes line up and stuff up to a point. The valve doesn't sit upright, but it doesn't matter. I've got a sort of saddle thing for the pressure gauge. It'll become apparent, or it won't work, and then you'll see it not work. Let's go get the spear valve. Hello, you. That's a tough one. Oh, bother! Don't follow my arm. Up there is the intake for the turbine. I haven't actually done any filming up there yet. Somewhere buried, I think along here is the pipe for the penstock. I don't know where that is. I don't really need to know at this point. The intake is not brilliant. It's I think it's an old water tank, and I don't quite know how the pipe is secured into the hole that's there. I don't trust it, so I've got a flange compression fitting that I'm gonna put there. It's quite interesting. It's what's there at the there's sort of two things there at the moment. There's the old, I guess, dam. It's only small. It's like a tiny little dam that's within the sort of geology of the river. It's not destructive in any way to the sort of flow of the river or the habitat or anything like that. That's all full of rocks and stones and stuff. And then what's attached to the front of that is this old water tank. I've got some professional flow analysis for the catchment up here. There's ways of calculating how much water I need to allow to overflow it before I capture water for our use. Well, that's quite interesting, and I will go into it, but it's totally irrelevant for what we're doing now, which is just making what's there work, and I'll make a new thing later on. Anyway, let's carry some stuff up rather than talking. So this is the water tank here, and obviously this is the pipe coming out. That's where I cut it there, and this is the pipe that goes down the hill here. And so here is the old dam. I believe it's made of concrete. I haven't actually investigated that. That lever there, that's the old gate valve. This is the current filter for the sort of catchment for the intake. It's quite an open cell mesh. I don't love it. I might put a thinner mesh underneath it just to try and catch some of the smaller particles. Eventually I'll replace this with a Coanda screen with a totally different setup, so it's more at an angle and stuff. There's a fairly established design for these things now. You could even buy them. I might just buy one. We'll see. It'll be quite fun to make one though. But there's just a Jubilee clip on this. Lovely. So this gap here is intentional. a little bit of pipe coming out of this, butting up to that pipe, with this coupling the two together. It's really low pressure because there's no pressure at this point anyway, so this will perfectly hold it together. If I want to release it, I can undo these two Jubilee clips, slide it one end up the pipe, and just misalign them like I'd done before. And it's just it's not a valve, it's not perfect, but it'll do just for now, just as a means of connecting and disconnecting the flow up here. Okay, good. So this is it, as I'm going to leave it for now. It's actually full now, the standpipe. The water level's sort of reached up to about there. It'll start overflowing over the tank soon. I'm actually surprised that that's the only leak happening. Here's the money shot of the pressure. So it is the static pressure. We are on 3.1234 bar. The endeavours at the intake have been quite fruitful. I'm really pleased with how that's gone. I'm reassured now that we've got a way of releasing pressure and allowing air to escape in the pipeline. We didn't have that before. The little pressure gauge is great. I've looked at how to convert that 3.4 bar into head, and it's 34.5 meters head. I was running all my calculations at 35 meters head. That's literally off just taking pipe measurements on Ordnance Survey and looking at the difference between the two. So I'm very impressed with the accuracy of the mapping data and the contour lines around here. That's very impressive. This seems to be working. I think it might be fun to open this and watch the spear valve do its thing. We can see how the spear valve's operating. It's not forming a perfect seal with the orifice that it sort of penetrates, lol. But I don't think that matters because we've got this to turn the water off completely, and it's so old. We can look at the quality of the jet maybe. How we judge whether or not that is a good jet, I don't know, but we can at least. I think it'll be fun. Let's turn this on. We'll do it slowly. We don't want to make a load of water hammer and stuff, but I think it'll be quite exciting to see water go everywhere and all the rest of it. So. That's open. Technically this spear valve is closed at the moment. Obviously it's not a super watertight seal, but it's interesting, you can see the principle of how it works. Water jets down this nozzle, and then the spoons run really pretty close to this, I think. Oh, that's so cool. So you can see the pressure's ticking down. So we're losing head. So we're empty. We're withdrawing more water than it's filling up with. I let the pipe completely refill and then took this video on my phone of the spear valve from completely closed to completely open. Here you can see that the jet is sort of waving around, and I think that's because the tip of the nozzle is rotating concentrically in the orifice. You could see that in the previous video that I did about the spear valve. Once it gets to this point though, you can see that the quality of the jet converges into quite a nice stream. So it might not actually matter that the jet seems to wander about at lower flow. I'll have to see. There's a lot of energy in there. This is really cool. You can see that the pressure is actually going down. I'm emptying the pipe faster than it's being replenished by the river. I filmed this in July. I think this is maybe about 6 litres a second. Just at the end here you can see that the river is then filling the pipe back up and the pressure's going up. My SD card's about to run out of memory, so I'll do a quick outro to this little bit. That was a lot of fun, but you can see how much power's in there. That's bloody brilliant. That's a good morale boost for the project. I think it's a good motivation to get everything done. Yeah, cool. Next, I'm gonna look at lifting this off. Yeah.